Alrighty, hello everyone. Just before we officially get underway, hello everyone in the chat there. You can hear me. I was going to ask if you can hear me, so thank you for preempting my question, Christina. Let's waste no time then and get underway. Welcome to this webinar today called Get Unstuck 5 Ideas to Help when you hit rough patches in your training. My name is Ryan Cartledge, and I'm the founder of Animal Training Academy. And I'm very grateful to everyone here for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come and learn alongside me today. This next hour-ish is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to go through a lot of cool information. So I hope you are all excited, because here at Animal Training Academy, we know you want to master your animal training skills using a force-free approach. And that in order to do this and handle the variety of challenges you face as a trainer, you need a broad knowledge and experience base. The problem is we all get stuck and hit rough patches in our training, which can leave us feeling overwhelmed, stressed, frustrated, embarrassed, and / helpless. And we don't want anyone feeling like this, as we believe everyone should be empowered to positively impact the lives of the animal and human learners they come into contact with. At the same time, we understand what it's like to feel defeated and stuck when faced with a training challenge. And this is why I created the Animal Training Academy. And since 2015, we have been fortunate enough to help thousands of trainers globally to expand their knowledge, further develop their skills, grow their confidence, and positively impact the lives of the animal and human learners they work with. And we can't wait to help you as well. Help you master your personal animal training skills with resources that are relevant to all species. Today's content is excellent for beginners, but at the same time is content I have used when presenting to professional animal trainers at professional conferences. So, no matter what stage of your journey you're on, I'm positive you will find value in Animal Training Academy to help grow your skills, knowledge, and confidence, and have a huge positive impact on all of the human and animal learners that you work with. And I want to make a promise to you about what you will be able to take away from this webinar today. I, Ryan Cartledge, promise to share with you the exact strategies that help me avoid embarrassment, overwhelm, stress, frustration, and burnout, and instead build resilience to setbacks, get more organized, and grow my training skills and knowledge. I promise by the end of this webinar to allow you to be able to start to apply the exact same strategies yourself, effective immediately. I promise to demonstrate to you how what we talk about today will help you enjoy more confidence in yourself as a trainer and lead a fulfilling life, positively impacting all the animal and human learners you come into contact with. I also acknowledge this is a bold promise, but I'm going to keep that promise to you. And I'm offering this free webinar today as one of a host of free resources that Animal Training Academy provides, including our free podcast shows. We have over 200 episodes. I've been interviewing some of the world's leading experts in animal training and behavior since 2016. We are one of the longest running animal training podcast shows out there, literally thousands of years of experience to learn from in those episodes. And my motivation behind offering all of this comes down to the reason Animal Training Academy exists in the first place. Obviously, we must charge for a lot of our services, but at the same time, we can totally give some freebies away to help us achieve this why. And with all that said, let's get started. I highly encourage you to use the chat function throughout the web class today to ask questions. I'm looking at it now. I can see Alexis, hi Alexis, Lauren, Marco, Aurelia, Catherine, Cornelie, Marco. So welcome everyone. I am watching the chat. I'll do my best to answer questions as we go. Additionally, though, there will be a live Q&A section at the end of the session today. So any questions, hi Tanya, great to have you here. So any questions I don't get to, we can answer at the end. The other thing I want to touch on is technical gremlins. They are the only species I do not know how to train. And so my apologies if they visit you during your experience today. I will be making available a replay for a very limited time afterwards, so you can watch that if the worst happens. Hi, Patricia, great to have you here. And the other really important thing I want to address is this question. Why listen to me? You don't have to listen to me, of course, but if you're going to stick around, here's a little bit about who I am. My name is Ryan Cartledge. I'm a certified professional dog trainer through the internationally recognized Karen Pryor Academy, and I'm the founder of Animal Training Academy. I've been working internationally as a professional trainer since 2007, including in New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and the US. And I've additionally spent my whole career working in and for zoological organizations, where I work with and train entire teams of zookeepers. And throughout my career, I've definitely got stuck and hit rough patches in my training many times. In fact, I want to share with you about one of the first times I ever got super stuck and how I overcame it. I got my first ever training position at a place called Ken's Tropical Zoo in Australia. And you can see me there with the big red arrow and holding a beautiful lesser sooty owl, surrounded by my colleagues, scaly, feathered, furred, and human ones. I was working in a free flight bird show with cockatoos and eagles and everything in between. And this is where I decided that positive reinforcement animal training is what I wanted to do. One of the birds I had the pleasure of working with at the time was an Australian magpie goose called Security. And Security had this name for a reason. He was labeled as an aggressive animal, as he'd been up to some rather undesirable behaviors around the zoo. He was initially a free roaming animal and would sometimes chase visitors, fly towards them, stab at their shoes, and other human-defined undesirable behaviors along those lines. And because of this, Security ended up living in the bird show area where I was working, sharing an exhibit with another bird, Reuben, the Brolga crane. In this new environment, Security carried on those undesirable behaviors, flying at keepers' heads, stabbing at their boots, and generally speaking, he made life quite challenging for the people managing him. And it also made training with Reuben the crane quite challenging. I remember everyone at the time was brainstorming really hard to come up with a solution to the challenges that Security was presenting us with. And because of all of these factors, I remember at one point hearing the word euthanasia come up in conversation. And that didn't quite sit right with me and some of Security's other humans. It seemed unfair and caused me a lot of stress. So we acknowledged we needed to learn some new ways of doing things. One thing I started learning about was how the use of labels placed upon animals can actually inhibit our ability to successfully intervene with their undesirable behaviors. Labels can lead us to place the blame for behavior inside an animal and consequently overlook important environmental influences. So in my own head, I removed the label aggressive from Security and instead started examining to the best of my ability what was happening in Security's environment when he did behaviors we were labeling as aggressive. And I asked myself a brand new question that definitely hadn't previously been the focus of our brainstorming endeavors. And that question was, yes, We wanted security to stop flying at our heads. And yes, we wanted him to stop stabbing at our boots. But what do we want him to do instead? The other thing I started learning about was environmental arrangement. So we examined the exhibit security was living in and brainstormed how we could possibly set it up for security to be more successful. And finally, we used positive reinforcement to teach security new and more desirable behaviors. We watched him eat and saw that corn was his favorite food item. So moving forward, this was to become one of our food reinforcers. In fact, using corn, we quickly taught security to station himself, i.e., stand on a black painted square piece of wood that we installed in his holding space. He would go and stand there when we entered his exhibit. Doing that behavior resulted in us scattering some corn for him. And this was incompatible with flying at our heads and stabbing at our boots. We then modified his exhibit, and once again using positive reinforcement, security learned to voluntarily place himself within an area of the exhibit. We could keep him separated whilst we trained Reuben the crane. It worked. And I remember being really excited at the time. This is one of my first attempts at doing and implementing what's called a functional assessment and intervention design. And the lessons and skills that I learned from this process and the knowledge and confidence I gained whilst working at Ken's Tropical Zoo, I've carried with me throughout my career and bring here into this presentation today, as we talk about 5 big ideas you can use to get unstuck yourself as you inevitably face a diverse range of animal training challenges based on the individual animals you work with. We have been helping some of our members continually build upon and grow their animal training skills for years. Like Kelly Inglis here, who has been with us since 2016. And I had the pleasure of meeting her in person in Bristol, UK last year at the guide dog facility where she now works. Kelly has been through so many highs and lows in her career, and we have been there with her every step of the way. I'll let you read that, but I also want to play you a video from the previous wildlife manager at Natureland Zoo here in New Zealand. Let's hear from Bridget.
Hi, I'm Bridget Kriegenhofer, and I'm the animal care team leader at Natureland Zoo in Nelson, New Zealand. And I just got to say, with the training that we went through with Ryan, it was really great and really helpful. We learned a lot about the science behind animal behavior, as well as a lot of practical application. And Ryan got me going on quite a cool challenge with our cotton top tamarins here, which involved getting them used to being inside the room, and then that developed into station training. And I was able to accomplish a lot with these tamarins under his guidance during our time, and it's overall been really helpful and great.
I feel so grateful to have had the chance to work with Bridget to help develop her training skills and push through. Sorry. Give me a second. I'm just having a little bit of a computer issue. I'll start that again. I feel so grateful to have had the chance to work with Bridget to help develop her training skills. She did such a great job with those tamarins. Sophie is another awesome trainer. And I love that since joining ATA in 2020, she has really leveraged her membership, as you can see in her feedback there. It's helped her grow her animal training and care business by 800%. Amazing. So how do we do it? How do we help our fabulous, and thank you in the chat there for letting me know that everything's working, Alexis, Christina, and Teresa. How do we help our fabulous clients grow their skills, knowledge, and confidence, and push through when they get stuck and hit rough patches? There are many ways, but today I wanted to share 5 distinct ideas with you. With idea number 1, you will learn how to avoid a common mistake and grow your animal training confidence by celebrating approximations. And idea number 2, you're going to learn about analysis paralysis, and I will share with you a framework to help you make challenging decisions. Idea number 3, you will learn about a straightforward yet bizarre habit to grow your animal training skills via the power of reframing. With idea number 4, we will cover the only time in your training where you can erase your mistakes. In this in this idea, we will see some training from me and my dog Phoebe and how I use flowcharting for ultimate animal training confidence. And last but not least, with idea number 5, we will discuss the importance of self-care and putting first things first. So let's get going with idea number 1. Avoid this common mistake and grow your animal training confidence. As animal trainers, we often focus on the end goal of our training. For example, I want my dog to walk on the lead without pulling, or I want to train my horse to participate voluntarily in hoof gear, or I'm training some animal in a wildlife demonstration at the zoo I work at. Whatever your challenge, it is essential to focus on our end goals, as we need to know where we are heading with the time and effort we put into training something new. However, it can also make us feel overwhelmed, anxious, frustrated, or upset if our training doesn't progress quickly. Many trainers we work with report feeling like this. And as mentioned earlier, we think this is wrong because training is meant to be fun, right? Therefore, since 2015, Animal Training Academy has helped thousands of trainers become more confident and efficient by assisting them to do this one simple thing: celebrate their approximations. Here's what we mean and how we do this in 3 simple steps. Step number 1, remembering that one of the most powerful tools we use when working with our non-human learners is shaping. And when I say shaping in this presentation, what I mean is teaching a learner new behavior using positive reinforcement and successive approximations. Successive approximations being small reinforceable variations in behavior, starting with what your learner already does and moving towards the final behavior we want them to learn. We focus on how vital successive approximations are for our dogs, horses, birds, and exotic non-human learners. But how often do we think about shaping and using successive approximations with each other, and more importantly, in terms of this presentation, ourselves? As we operate under the same laws of behavior as all earthlings. Shaping ourselves using successive approximations is essential. That's step number 1 of idea number 1. Remember that one of the most powerful tools we use when working with our non-human learners is shaping. The second step of idea number 1, and equally important, is learning to celebrate our approximations along the way. Celebrating approximations being a term I first heard from Dr. Susan Friedman, whom you can learn more from at www.behaviorworks.org. With our non-human learners, we so easily celebrate their approximations by using toys, food, play, or whatever reinforcer our individual learners are reinforced by. However, we often forget to do the same with ourselves. How do we celebrate our own approximations, though? Do we need to give ourselves an M&M every time we do something we like? If you like M&Ms and you want to do this, I'm not telling you not to, but it's not what I'm suggesting here. In celebrating our approximations, here's what has worked well for us. It starts with defining what these words mean in this context and in this presentation. When I say celebrate in this presentation, what I mean is to explicitly and positively acknowledge what we have done, either publicly or privately. And that word explicitly means in an unambiguous and detailed manner, leaving no room for confusion or doubt. We ideally want to be as specific as we can. And then approximations in this context can be summed up in one word: progress. Something we celebrate daily in our household with our beautiful daughter, Summer, who's roughly 10 months old in this photo. She's now just over 3. I'm about to show you a video from one of the first times Summer ever crawled. My wife is filming, and you can hear the very public acknowledgement of the progress Summer is making.
Crawling on you. Look at you go. Oh my god. Wow, Smudge. Wow, you get it, Smudge. Oh my gosh.
Obviously, there are other significant reinforcers at play to maintain and station or increase that crawling behavior because, oh my God, the remote. But when did this stop happening, right? At what point in our road to adulthood do people stop following us around and cheering every time we do something awesome? Of course, that would be ridiculous. However, at the same time, we approximate so much every day towards our goals and often forget to pause and celebrate. Every day we go to bed with an expanded learning history compared to when we woke up. With our non-human learners, with our exotics, with our domestics, with whatever species we are working with, we are often ready, observing with our full attention and waiting for those behaviors to attempt to reinforce. And therefore, with ourselves and others throughout our day, we have endless opportunities, like with our non-human learners, to be ready, observing, and attentive, waiting for those approximations. And it's also important to point out that progress can also mean celebrating what didn't go right and our mistakes. We can learn from those experiences just as much, if not more. And then we use what we learn to make different / new / better decisions moving forward. This is progress because, dude, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. Thanks, Jack the dog. Adventure time. Celebrating the learning that comes from mistakes, though, can be a vulnerable endeavor, especially if you do it publicly. Others might not share Jake the dog's mindset. And in the worst case scenarios, you might be torn down by your peers for doing so. Consequently, good judgment is recommended when practicing celebrating mistakes publicly, in terms of where and with who you do it. Some of us are resilient enough to grow in spite of the judgment of others. But for most, I recommend doing it in a safe space among trusted peers. If you don't have access to a safe space like that, remember there is totally nothing wrong with celebrating privately. And then step number 3 from idea number 1 is simply to remember step number 1, that one of the most powerful tools we use when working with our non-human learners is shaping. And do step number 2, celebrate your approximations. Explicitly and positively acknowledge your progress, either publicly or privately, which leads to step number 3, enjoy feeling less overwhelmed, anxious, and frustrated, and instead grow your enjoyment and confidence in training even more, helping you have the most significant possible positive impact on the lives of the animal and human learners you work with. So, what does this look like in our actual training sessions? Firstly, it might take some reevaluation when working with another individual, human or non-human, of who we attach the label learner to. One might say there's always a trainer/teacher and a learner. Or we could say we have two trainers, because from the parrot's perspective, it's training the human to give it food. However, my exploration of framing my training sessions and what I would like to suggest here is an appreciation. We are just, in fact, co-learners. Consistently embracing yourself as a learner and practicing breaking your own behavior down into small, achievable approximations has been one of the biggest learning curves for me over the last 4 to 5 years. This next slide shows how I celebrate approximations session to session for myself. Firstly, I film my training as much as I can. I do short sessions. The definition of short obviously depends on your learning partner/partners, the behaviors you are working on, and other variables. But generally for me, 1 to 2 minutes, 5 to 20 repetitions. And then I intentionally pause afterwards, reflect, and write down these 3 things. One thing I approximated in that session that I can celebrate. One thing my learning partner approximated in that session that we can celebrate. And notably, one small possible approximation to build on my awesome source for next time. Training non-human learners has taught me why small approximations are essential. And in my intentional behavior of using this rubric, a modified version of one designed by US-based dog trainer Sarah Owings, full credit to her, helps me celebrate my approximations/progress as well. Just going to take a quick pause and check out Q&A. I can see someone's posted a question. How do I teach my dog new tricks? Thanks for the question, Brooklyn. Let's get to that one at the end. Shut that down. All right. Idea number 2. In your animal training, hey, Sylvia, sorry you have to leave and that you're sick. Yes, the replay will be in the Animal Training Academy Facebook page for you afterwards. In your animal training, do you ever get stuck thinking so much about the best way to solve a problem that you end up not making any decisions at all? If so, you might be experiencing what's known as analysis paralysis. Analysis paralysis can be caused by overanalyzing or overthinking a situation, meaning decision-making can become paralyzed and no course of action is decided upon within a reasonable time frame. In my experience, this analysis paralysis can actually cause people to stop training altogether as they want to do the perfect thing. Consequently, I wanted to share an exercise to help you make difficult decisions and take approximations towards reducing any analysis paralysis. This process is called Use Your Brain. With BRAIN being an acronym for benefits, risks, alternatives, instincts, and narrative versus naked truth. So think about a decision you want and that you'll need to make, and pretend that you have decided upon a course of action moving forward. What you want to do is consider all of the benefits that particular course of action could bring you, and weigh these up against any potential risks involved that you can think of and that might arise if you follow through on that particular course of action. Do your benefits outweigh your risks or vice versa? How likely are the risks that you have thought about, and are they acceptable risks, or will the cost of potential fallout be too high? Next, think about alternative options to the pretend decision you have made. What other potential solution could there be to this problem that you might not have thought about yet? And when you have thought about potential alternative options, I find it beneficial to then run through this process again, pretending you are going to take those alternative courses of actions, weighing up the benefits and risks of each possibility. Then is for me the most critical component of using your brain, and that is instinct. Ask yourself what your gut tells you is the right thing to do. The way I personally do this is by posing the question to myself, is this the right course of action? And without pause to think, I pay attention to the first thought that comes to my mind, taking this as my gut reaction. A lot of the time, I will do what my gut tells me. And I can often, not always, but often, do this with confidence because I know whatever the outcome, I'm going to make progress. There are learning opportunities ahead for me. And then the last segment of our brain for us to examine is N, narrative and naked truth. Here you are encouraged to get curious about your facts. First, where you might have filled gaps in any knowledge of your own non-fact based narrative. This can help identify any extra information that could be valuable to acquire first if time allows. And when I say if time allows, what I mean is there a time that this decision has to be made by? Does waiting to make a decision change your input on the previous segments of the brain? Will delaying a decision create new benefits or risks or increase/decrease the likelihood of potential positive or negative outcomes? Part of using your brain is to acknowledge that you have made a decision to make a decision. And therefore, this can mean sometimes progressing without all the facts, as long as any potential risks are acceptable. So if you feel you might suffer from analysis paralysis, then the next time you get stuck or hit a rough patch, my offering is to confidently decide how you will proceed by using your brain. And just someone else asking how they would see the replay, I'll just give you a second to jot that down and answer that question. The replay will be available in the Animal Training Academy Facebook business page. So if you search Animal Training Academy on Facebook, you will be able to find it. Idea number 3 is a bizarre habit to grow your animal training skills. If you tell yourself that you are stuck or have hit a rough patch in your animal training, and I choose these words, i.e. getting stuck or hitting a rough patch, because they are the words I hear our clients using. If you tell yourself you are stuck or have hit a rough patch, generally speaking, you likely aren't going to feel super great about these situations. The amazing thing about words, though, is that we get to choose the words we use to describe our lives. And this can profoundly impact how we feel about the situations we find ourselves in. For example, one word I reframed years ago was the word exhausted, which looks like this in my house. By the way, that's about 5 p.m. in the afternoon. Dog tucked into my legs, computer nearly falling off the couch, being held in place by my daughter's foot there, me passed out halfway through an email with my wife taking a photo of me. I used to frequently think about how exhausted I was and would share how exhausted I felt with others. And then I learned about reframing, and I changed my use of the word exhausted to pooped. The use of the word pooped doesn't feel so intense. But more importantly, when I used it with others, I found they laughed. It was funny. And I'm significantly reinforced by making people laugh. Not that I'm necessarily very good at that. Anyway, this immediately changed how I felt about my situation. Same situation, different words. So what about the word stuck or hitting a rough patch in your animal training? One word that I feel has benefited me on my animal training journey and fits in really well here as a possible reframe is the word curious. Instead of saying, I feel stuck in this rough patch, you might say, I am really curious about this situation. By consciously changing this one word, you can leverage curiosity to help build your animal training skills, knowledge, and confidence. My challenge to you is to think about any unempowering words you might use when faced with a training challenge. Whatever word you use, change it to curious. Try this for a month and see what impact it has on you. Instead of, oh my God, I'm such a bad trainer. That session was so messy. You could say, I'm curious as to why my learning partner just did that behavior. And how could I improve/change what I do for next time? If after a month you don't see any impact, no harm is done. You can just go back to using the words you were using before seeing this presentation. If, however, you see a positive impact, I encourage you to explore the power of reframing in all areas of your animal training to help you grow your training skills, knowledge, and confidence. But of course, be responsible with your reframing and only practice if it's actually going to empower you. Don't be like this guy.
Replace the word problem with the word opportunity in all your thoughts. Okay. I have a very severe drinking opportunity.
Idea number 4. Hey, Catherine, sorry that you have to leave right now, but we'll get the replay up for you. Thanks for coming for this first part anyway, and have a good day, Catherine. Idea number 4. How to erase mistakes in your animal training. I have the magic button. No, I don't, but I have the best next thing. We all get stuck and hit rough patches in our animal training, or get curious, which can leave us feeling overwhelmed and helpless. But what if you could erase mistakes in your training as if they never happened? This idea will teach you how via flowcharts, an idea initially applied to animal training by the amazing Emily Johnson-Vey and Ava Bertelsen, and shared here with their permission. When training with your animals, you often think about what you will do if your animal does what you want. For example, if you say sit and your dog sits, maybe you give your dog a juicy piece of chicken. However, do you also spend as much time thinking about what to do if your learning partner does something else? Mapping out these decision points before stepping in front of your animal can significantly improve your animal training confidence and skills. Ava and Emily call this flow charting. And I want to share 4 tips to help you flow chart successfully. And then we're going to go through an example. Tip number 1, your flowchart should alternate between what you do and what your learning partner does. Tip number 2, it's helpful to stick with only 2 decisions per each part of your flowchart. For example, your learning partner either did what you wanted or didn't. Tip number 3, for the option where your animal doesn't do what you want, you don't need to find the perfect solution. Instead, think about something you can do consistently and efficiently, and that is not punitive in nature, and choose that. Tip number 4, grab a piece of paper and map one out for your next training session. Don't worry if it looks messy. This is just for you. No one else needs to see it. With my dog Phoebe, my primary strategy, if she does something other than what I want or expect, is to offer her a target stick. Targeting her nose is an easy alternative behavior where Phoebe can earn reinforcement quickly. After I offer her a target stick, I could go back to the top of my flowchart and try the cue again. Alternatively, I could end the session and have a break to think things through, giving me an opportunity to do my thinking without Phoebe standing directly in front of me. Whether I end the session or re-cue is ideally all thought out before my session starts. And in this example, I plan to end the session if I need to offer 3 targets in a row. Flowcharting your session on a piece of paper before your session begins gives you the opportunity to erase anything you don't like, or any mistakes you make. In fact, Ava Bertelsen and Emily Johnson Bay describe it as the only time in your training when you can erase mistakes. Knowing what if-then conditions you might encounter in a training session before you do the session helps provide great communication and can really help build confidence for both us and our animals. In this example I'm going to show you, I was training Phoebe to voluntarily participate in her own nail care. Specifically, we were focusing on using a Dremel with her. The first video you're about to see is actually the first time we ever used a Dremel on her nails. So let's watch the first of 3 videos from this training.
Get it. Good. Good. Get it.
So picking a behavior out of that video, we might start with, I kneel in front of the grey mat and Phoebe sits on the grey mat. Then in the video, I lifted my right hand in the air. If Phoebe remains sitting, I then bring my hand down to Phoebe's side. The reason I did this was to give Phoebe time and a choice to either stay or leave. She chose to stay, and therefore new opportunities and choices become available for her. So the next part of this flowchart is she targets my hand with her paw, which cues me to pick the Dremel up and turn it on, held far away from her. So she has communicated to me via her behavior that I may now proceed to pick up the Dremel and turn it on. Phoebe stays in position, Ryan Dremels nails, Phoebe stays in position, Ryan says good and throws food, which takes us back to the start, and we can begin again. And how granular we get when doing flowcharts depends really on what's most helpful for us. For example, we could have just said this. And this is what I might say now that we've been dremeling her nails for the past few years. However, whilst training the behavior, splitting these if-then moments out helped me, to the best of my ability, set up clear communication between Phoebe and me, and helped me troubleshoot any particular parts of the routine and particular decisions I had to make that Phoebe might have been uncomfortable with. And we'll talk about this more soon. But first, let's watch the video again so you can review what we have just covered. And you should hopefully notice other parts of our routine as well that I didn't even include just then. So if we wanted, we could get even more granular. Let's watch that again now.
Get it.
So as mentioned, what I like about this level of granularity was when Phoebe was first learning about the Dremel, as she was in the video, is that it highlights plenty of different decision points for both Phoebe and me. And at any point, I'm aware that Phoebe might make a different decision than what I ideally want her to do. What do I do here? Flowcharting helps me remember that in our training sessions, we provide our animal learning partners with lots of different decision points. At the same time, Phoebe also provides me with lots of different decision points. She is also my antecedent cueing my behavior. I ideally want to know what I will do if she does something other than sit on the mat. What decisions I will make before I step in front of Phoebe to do a training sessions, or in this case, kneel in front of Phoebe. She's pretty small. I don't want to have to do this thinking whilst Phoebe is in front of me. So thinking through all of this in advance can be super helpful. As an example, here's what I came up with. Phoebe does something other than sit on the mat. I offer a target stick. Phoebe targets her nose. I say good and throw food. And then we're back at the start. So 2 days after that initial video we shared, Phoebe said no to participating in a nail care session, i.e. she did something other than sit on the grey mat. However, this was completely fine, as we had a solid plan in place. She has the option to say, no, I don't want to do this right now, at absolutely any point. And on the road to us both learning about her nail care, she often did. Let's watch the second of our 3 videos for this section.
Did it. Did it.
After I folded up the mat in that session, Phoebe and I then went outside and worked on some stationing behavior with lots more access to food. So saying no is totally cool. And I feel like having options for her to access food anyway, in this case via a chin rest and stationary nose target, is super important. So that, to the best of my ability, training remains fun for her and motivation stays high. And the extra cool thing about this is that historically with Phoebe and I feel this has led to Phoebe being more likely to say yes in the future. My understanding being that the control she has over her choice to say no at any time gives her the confidence and trust to say yes more. Also, when Phoebe and I have done similar training in the past, she might do a session of saying yes 10 times in a row, followed by a session of saying no right from the start, followed by another session of then saying yes again. Phoebe continued on with what she has historically done. And after this, she did say yes more, a lot more. We do nail dremeling ideally once a week at the moment. And here's another video so you can roughly see what it looks like now. Let's watch.
Good. 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 get it.
And now, idea number 5. Self-care is essential for animal trainers. But unfortunately, it can become easy when we're so passionate about what we do to end up having an unbalanced focus on our animals, their care and training, consequently neglecting other areas of our lives and ourselves. An unbalanced life can contribute to burnout and overwhelm and negatively impact your animal training skills and confidence. I should know, I've been there. I burnt out badly in 2020, but through the help of trusted colleagues and the implementation of effective strategies, I worked through it. Here's one of the things I did. Firstly, I broke down into percentages how much time and emotion I put into the different things / aspects of my life. This shocking activity made me realize how much emotional energy was spent on animal training, my animals, my clients, and my clients' animals. As a result of spending so much time and energy on our own and / or our clients' animals, other aspects of our lives have the risk of being attended to with minimal to no emotional reserves. It scares me to think that I was giving roughly 80% of my time to animal training, behavior, and my business. After this, what valuable energy might I have left for my wife, daughter, family, friends, health, and well-being? Here's what I did next. Firstly, I spoke to my wife about this in an emotional conversation. Then together, we identified 5 areas I could focus on in my life that had nothing to do with animal training and / or ATA. And each week, I endeavored to set goals in these areas and take small approximations towards improvement. These ideas came from the offerings of Stephen R. Covey, who has offered so much to the business world with books like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But also, he's offered so much to our animal training industry. If you have ever heard of the concept of the trust account from Susan Friedman and Steve Martin, my understanding is that idea stemmed from Stephen Covey's emotional bank account too. Stephen Covey's emotional bank account idea. In his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey discusses putting first things first. What he means by this is that we often give importance to seemingly urgent things. But if we reflect, we can appreciate that these things aren't necessarily as important as we might have initially thought. And you can see examples of these things in the green box. For example, an interruption from our cell phone. I rarely answer my phone if I don't recognize the number, unless I have an agreed time and appointment with someone, because I'm never not doing something. And an unexpected phone call can seem urgent because it's ringing right there in the moment. We don't know if there might be super important information available if we answer. Also, the opportunity to answer is going to be removed very shortly if we don't pick up. That $5 million from your long lost uncle in some foreign country with no other living relatives could be gone if you don't pick up. But if you think about random phone calls you get, they often aren't about topics that fit in the orange or red box, the important boxes. So, for example, your kid doesn't start crying and then you get a phone call about it. Or they're not about how to be a better father, husband, or son, or about ensuring you're looking after yourself. These are super important things, but often seem non-urgent because they aren't pressuring us in the present moment. Stephen R. Covey's First Things First reminds us to put these important things first. Having this tool available helps me avoid burnout, compassion fatigue, and feelings of overwhelm. This helps keep me mentally healthy, resulting in me being able to show up as a more mentally healthy and confident animal trainer. And there you have it. 5 ideas to help you get unstuck when you hit rough patches in your training so that you can continue to have your biggest possible positive impact on the lives of all the animal and human learners you work with. And thanks for the great comment in the chat there, Vera. I appreciate that and feel very reinforced. How would your life with animals and your training change if every time you got stuck or hit a rough patch in your training, you had solutions like this at your fingertip? If you were part of a community that helped you avoid embarrassment, feeling overwhelmed, and burnout, instead a community where you could build resilience to setbacks, get more organized, and continually develop your training skills and knowledge. That because of the support from this community, you found yourself enjoying increased confidence as a trainer and living the fulfilling life you want, positively impacting the lives of all the animal and human learners you work with. And all of this accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, directly from your living room couch. I've been so lucky over the last 8 years now, we've been doing ATA to build this very community. And you saw some of our clients at the start of this webinar with Kelly Inglis, Bridget Creganhofer, and Sophie Bell. Bonnie Wilkins is another individual who has benefited significantly from her time with ATA. And we're going to hear from her now.
Hi, my name is Bonnie Wilkins and I am a zookeeper at the Kiwi Birdlife Park in Queenstown. So I first had the pleasure of meeting Brian when he was working at the park with me late last year. He passed on to me so many skills which completely changed the way that I looked at behaviour, and he also gave me lots of tools that I could use to work with challenges that I faced in the future. So lately I've been having lots of trouble training my Australian brushtail possum to do a new routine in our live show. We tried lots of different things, but I was just facing one little behavioural challenge of him not coming out of his release box fast enough. So I tried everything I could think of and eventually thought, Ryan, I'll get hold of Ryan. And he gave me all of these new ideas on things that I could change in the environment, everything like that. And honestly, the next time I went to work, it was like I was working with a different possum. Literally yesterday, we actually had our first show with him in it. So I would completely recommend his course to anyone. He just understands the animals in such a way and has a really good way of teaching others to understand this as well. So thank you so much for all of your help that you've given me, Ryan, and I really couldn't have done it without you.
Whether you're a zookeeper, a vet, an animal carer, a dog trainer, or just caring for your animals at home, animal training can help you get unstuck. And I'm going to share how we do this via a membership to Animal Training Academy, which I'll pop a link for in the chat just now and put it in the Facebook group as well. Our membership doors are open for limited enrollment periods every year. And our next open enrollment period starts right now in this web class. We're gonna open our doors for the next 7 days, at which point they will close again for the foreseeable future at 3 p.m. Pacific US time on Wednesday, the 26th of April. Via our membership, you can scroll through our content library to select from currently over 170 webinar replays, whatever you want to learn about. Just choose your topic and learn from some of the world's top subject matter experts. These will help you develop a broad theory base and increase your animal training knowledge and skill set so that you can overcome all of the unique challenges you face as an animal trainer. Or you can open up one of the emails we send exclusively to our paying members and register for one of the 2 live pieces of training we do every month. You will then join at the live time, connect with me, the guest subject matter expert, and other like-minded individuals for insightful learning opportunities to help you master your animal training skills and build your confidence. Additionally, you can post about your specific problems and frustrations straight into either our members-only Facebook group or website forums. It will be seen by subject matter experts from around the world to help offer you guidance and support and grow your skills, knowledge, and confidence. This photo is from a Susan Friedman and Peter Clark workshop in Australia that many of our members attended. Emma Shute says her only regret was not being part of this community sooner. The best membership she has ever signed up for. Karen Scott says there is so much knowledge there you can find yourself absorbed for days. And Julie Cook says it's the best animal training group experience available. I haven't found a group more welcoming, respectful, and willing to share their knowledge. Yay, Lauren. We look forward to having you with us and helping you grow your skills, knowledge, and confidence. I'm so excited. And as mentioned via the membership, you will have direct access to me, myself, and other ATA happiness engineers, members of our team, who will help you every step of the way. I'm personally regularly in the Facebook group, and I lead every web class and monitor the forums. If you have a question, all you have to do is ask, and you will get fast, speedy, professional responses. And last but not least, the easiest way to get started is to follow along with our yearly curriculum, where each month we cover a specific topic. This is completed through small, achievable weekly tasks / approximations to help you either grow your skills, your knowledge, your competency, or your confidence. Jill Illingworth from the UK says that ATA is a wealth of information to suit all levels. That means you. We know you want to master your animal training skills using a force-free approach. And then in order to do this and handle the variety of challenges you face, you need a broad knowledge and experience base. The problem is we all get stuck and hit rough patches in our training, which can leave us feeling overwhelmed and helpless. And we don't want anyone feeling like this, as we believe everybody should be empowered to positively impact the lives of the animal and human learners that they come into contact with. At the same time, we understand what it's like to feel defeated and stuck when faced with a training challenge. And this is why I created the Animal Training Academy. Since 2015, we've been fortunate to help thousands of trainers globally to expand their knowledge, further develop their skills, grow their confidence, and positively impact the lives of the animal and human learners they work with. And we can't wait to help you as well. Here's what you need to do. I've put the membership link in the chat there. Click it, and then you can register for your membership from within there. The easiest way to get started is to simply follow our curriculum program via our simple weekly instructions, either through email or on Facebook. And you will experience significant growth in your skills, knowledge, efficiency, competency, and confidence. And I've also put the link in the comments on the Facebook page where we're streaming live as well. I am so confident our product will work for you. If you engage in the training and in our community, and within your first month it doesn't give you everything I've just talked about, simply contact me. No questions asked. I'll give you your money back. I know that's not going to happen though, because at Animal Training Academy, we are in the business of helping people master their animal training skills. And we look forward to helping you master yours. So in the chat is the registration link. You need to click that. It will open in a new window and it's going to have more information about everything we've just covered. When you go to the checkout, you can use PayPal, but don't worry if you don't have PayPal, you can also use a credit card, and I'll see you on the inside. We will work together to help you grow your animal training skills, knowledge, and confidence. And for anyone watching the replay, don't worry. We're going to give you an opportunity to register before the enrollment period closes at 3 p.m. Pacific time, Wednesday, the 26th of April. You don't have long. We're likely going to be putting the price up next time we reopen as well. So this gives you the opportunity to lock in the current pricing. So join the membership. We want to see you avoid embarrassment, overwhelm, and burnout. Instead, we want to see you build resilience to setbacks, get more organized, and grow your training skills and knowledge. In short, we want to see you enjoy confidence in yourself as a trainer and lead a fulfilling life, positively impacting the lives of the animal and human learners that you work with. What I'm going to do now, though, is completely open up the floor for questions and answers and read your comments. Anything that's on your mind, now is your opportunity to ask those questions. I'm just going to have a look at the chat, and please feel free to just ask away with any questions that you might have, either about today's class, the package we have put together for you, or anything else to do with animal training and behavior. Thank you, Tanya. You are so extremely welcome. Susan, you are so welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Great presentation. Thank you so much. Nicole asks in the Q&A box, can you please post what the books and authors are that you spoke about a few minutes ago, or verbally repeat? Yeah, so the book with regards to the putting first things first idea was Stephen R. Covey. Stephen R. Covey. Covey spelled Covey. And the title of that book is it's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He also has a book called First Things First, which goes into just that one idea in great detail. Are there any scholarships for neurodivergent, BIPOC, LGBTQ, or etc., or people who are struggling financially? We don't currently have that set up, but I love that question because we do need to do that. So no, but watch this space. Thank you for nudging me on that and reminding me. Thank you. Great webinar, Magdalena. Thank you so much for coming. What time are the webinars usually, says Jane. Jane, the webinars are usually around about this time. So we do them in New Zealand mornings. That way Australasia can attend. It is afternoon for most of North America, and it's evening for Europe. So we find that's a time that covers most of where our members are: North America, Europe, and Australasia. Tony said, any tips for working with the elderly human learner? Twice now I've become stuck here with assisting them with their canine learners. Yeah, it's every not specific for working with the elderly in general, but just the idea, Tanya, that each elderly member you work with is an individual, and just like if they were a dog, we would figure out where their starting point is, what their reinforcers were, set up the environment to make the right behaviors easier and more reinforcing than the wrong behaviors, make sure that we've got good motivation, good motivating operatives, and then we would figure out what our next approximation is for that individual, and that would be our goalpost, rather than what we might have thought we should try to achieve when we went in there before we had a chance to figure all of those things out. I hope that answers your question. Let me know. Does the Academy offer any help on technical issues, such as how to make a setup for videoing yourself, what equipment, etc.? Yeah, we have a lot of business owners in our academy. Who was asking that? Cornelly. And we realize how stressful, overwhelming getting a business going, learning all of the tech. I mean, even me setting up this webinar, like I know what it feels like to try to figure out all of that tech stuff, Cornelia, and I know how stressful it is. So yeah, we have a lot of questions about business stuff and about apps and about technology in our community. And we've got a lot of people in your shoes who are doing the same thing, who have a lot of great ideas. So yep, we definitely talk about all of those things. Anything that's going to help you have a bigger positive impact on the animals and humans you work with, and that includes running our businesses and working with technology. That is part of being an animal trainer in 2023. Jasmine says, this has honestly been so helpful. I'm fairly new to being a behavior and training consultant, and have found that I've been feeling really down and not good enough. I feel so much better. Well, amazing. I mean, that is why we do this. We understand, Jasmine. We understand so much what it feels like, because that's what so many of our clients feel like, and we just feel grateful. Every day I feel I remind myself of what we're offering, and we've helped so many people in your situation grow that confidence. So these were just 5 ideas, 5 that I handpicked that have been really helpful for me, and that our members find really helpful. I'm just so thrilled that it's helped you as well. Excellent. It does, says Tania. Thank you for that. For those of us with eyesight issues, are there audio and video options for the courses? Yeah, so Susan, we have such a huge range of members in our community. We've seen it all. And definitely I know that the challenges around visual stuff, we've even done web classes on this. The challenges of visual stuff, not only in using a membership, but just life. Like, I know how hard it is when you have those challenges that other people don't. So I do incorporate that into everything I do. When I'm making images to share, I try not to use flashy things, because I know for some people that can be really hard to see. So with every web class we have, there is the audio option. You can just listen to it. You can either watch the video or listen to it, and then you can participate in the forums through reading. And I hope that answers your question, but let me know if not. We have lots of people in your situation. Everyone's unique and everyone's different, but we've definitely helped lots and lots of people who have that really challenging. I'm sorry that you have that as well, that really challenging problem. Jasmine, we are so pumped to know that you will be joining us in Animal Training Academy, and we are going to be helping you get unstuck even more and helping you grow your training skills, knowledge, and confidence even more. All right, it looks like, oh, there's no one. Thank you. And are the courses included in the membership cost? So we don't have courses per se. We do 2 live webinars every month. That Sarah Owings rubric you saw before, if you remember, What's one thing I did that I like? What's one thing I did that my learning partner liked? What's one small approximation to build on my awesome source for next time? That's this month's current curriculum topic. We had some macaw, some parrot training, some dog training yesterday, heaps of dog training. Lots of our members are sharing their videos, using this rubric, giving each other feedback. And then we've got a live session with Sarah Owings next week. So if you join the membership, you can attend that. And then that replay gets put into our content library. And so our content library, we've been doing 2 webinars a month since 2017. So I think Sarah's will be webinar 175. So whatever problem you're stuck on, there will be something in our community or our website library, and you can just ask and we'll let you know where to look, that you can watch to grow your knowledge and to apply and to build your skill and to overcome that challenge, and to get more confident. All of that is included in the membership cost. Everything is included. The curriculum's included, the webinars are included, the community is included, access to us is included. So everything we talked about is included in the cost of membership. You are so welcome. All right. Well, I'm going to say we're going to be wrapping up shortly then, but I will stick around as long as there are questions or comments in the chat. My goal is to help you guys feel less overwhelmed and stressed and embarrassed and all of those unpleasant things. And my goal is to grow your skills, your knowledge, your confidence, and have the biggest impact we can together. Man, we can have such a difference on the world, all the animals and humans we work with. So happy to stick around, but it looks like we've answered all of the questions. Therefore, we're going to be ending the webinar now. You guys are going to receive some emails. Oh, let's go back a step because we've got one more question. We have so many people join us that aren't on Facebook, Yolanda. We understand that for various reasons, people aren't on Facebook. I will put a link. I will create a link to our website and send that out in an email tomorrow. If not today, I'll probably send it out tomorrow. So yes, I will create a non-Facebook link for you to watch the replay. You're welcome. All right, so we're going to end the webinar now. You're very welcome, Cornelia, and great to see you here. You're going to receive some emails from us over the coming 48 hours, as I said, with access to the replay and links to join our membership. I want to thank you, everyone who's still here, for attending. I want to let you know that you're welcome, Lisa. I want to let you know that if all you got today was training, then I'm happy. It doesn't matter if you don't buy from us. Hello, Phoebe. I want you to be happy. And if today wasn't the time for you to join the membership, maybe it will be in the future. But I hope that the great content that we gave you today can help you get unstuck with your animal training. All right, Lauren, we can't wait to have you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Jane. And we'll see you next time. Oh, I'm gonna have a lick attack as I come in to push stop share.